Hi everyone, I am Dr. A.R. Vijay Babu, working as an assistant professor in Department of EEE, Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research, deemed to be universe. So, we are dealing with the subject SPVT 2, that is Solar Photovoltaic Technologies 2. So, in this, we have already gone through unit number 1, that is design aspects of solar cells. And the second one is solar PV modules. That also we have recently gone through it. Now let's start our third unit, that is maximum power point tracking. So we have clearly seen that a power interface is a module which have to be kept in between the solar PV array and the load. Why? It is to regulate the input impedance, that is the terminal resistance RT of the power interface. But why we need to regulate this? We have already seen. We have to regulate this RT in order to draw the maximum power from the PV panel. So the power interface is a very important component in a MPPT system, right? So far we have seen the concept of MPPT. What is the concept of MPPT? Whenever there is a change in the value of the load resistance R0, the solar panel have to deliver maximum power to the load, irrespective of that change in the load resistance. For that reason, we have introduced a block called power interface block with control input in between the solar PV module and the load. That is the reason. So, what is the function of this power interface block? This power interface block should work in such a way that whenever there is a change in the value of R0, this control input automatically adjusts itself in order to give the pulse signals to the power interface, so that this power interface have to keep value of the load resistance RT constant irrespective of the change in the load. It is the function of a power interface. And so now what is power interface? The power interface is nothing but a DC to DC converter, and the control input is nothing but the duty cycle of this DC to DC converter. What is a DC to DC converter? It is a device which converts the input DC into output DC. That is, if I give the input DC supply to it, we'll also get the input DC supply at the output, but with a change in characteristics. There are two broad classifications. The first one is the non-isolated DC to DC converters and isolated DC to DC converters. The non-isolated DC to DC converters consist of three different types of DC to DC converters. They are boost converter or step up converter, buck converter or step down converter. And the third one is the buck boost converter. The first one is the boost converter. What is a boost converter? It is a converter which steps up the voltage level. For example, when the input of a boost converter is 5 volts, the output will be more than 5 volts. It may be around 12 volts, 10 volts or 15 volts or 30 volts, it depending upon your converter. That's why it is called step up converter. And what is a buck converter? A buck converter is a converter which will step down the voltage level. For example, if 30 volts is the input to the buck converter, the output is 5 volts or 10 volts or 15 volts, which will be less than 30 volts. And that's why we call this converter as a buck converter. The third converter is a buck boost converter. So it's a converter depending upon the duty cycle, that is the control input. It may either increase the voltage or it may either decrease the voltage, and that's why it is called a buck boost converter. This buck boost converter performs the operation of buck and boost converters. And there is a second classification of these converters, that is the isolated converters. And there are different types of isolated converters. They are flyback converter, forward converter, push-pull converter, half-bridge converter and full-bridge converter. All these are the converters which are used for the advanced applications, or they are the research applications, right? So generally for our day-to-day life, the examples which are used in our home, we will go for this buck converter or boost converter. So finally, what is the takeaway from this slide? The simple thing is that the power interface is nothing but a DC to DC converter, and the control input is nothing but the duty cycle. Now let's see the PV system configuration for a maximum power point tracking. So you can see in the figure over there, there is a PV panel at one extreme and there is a load on the other extreme. So in between the PV panel and load, we have kept a power interface, that is DC to DC converter, and we need to give control input to this power interface. What is the control input? The control input is nothing but the duty cycle. But how this duty cycle have to be given to this DC to DC converter? That is based on the error and control mechanism. That is based on the feedback controller mechanism. So what is that? So we need to measure the two variables, that is PV panel voltage and PV panel current, and should process them using different MPPT algorithms to obtain the corresponding duty cycle, which is nothing but the control input, to regulate the input impedance, that is the RT, the terminal resistance of the power interface, that is DC to DC converter, in order to maintain the operating point always at point A, which will deliver maximum power to the load from the PV panel always. So the main objective here is we need to sense the PV module voltage and current, and we need to send it to the MPPT algorithm where it will be processed, and accordingly a duty cycle will be generated, and the duty cycle will be given to the DC to DC converter, and in such a way that the input impedance of the power interface of the DC to DC converter is always constant in order to deliver the maximum power to the load always. Now here what happens, whenever there is a change in the value of the load resistance or not, automatically the controller will generate the duty cycle or the control input, and the control input will drive the DC to DC converter, and DC to DC converter operates accordingly and keeps the value of the RT always constant in order to draw maximum power from the PV panel to the load. So what is the need of MPPT, that is maximum power point tracking? Why we need to use this MPPT? There are many advantages of using MPPT. The first one is it is used to maximize the power output from a PV module. The PV module will produce the maximum power only when it is operating at the operating point A. So in order to keep the operating point always at A, we use the MPPT tracking. And this tracker will track the operating point continuously, and it always maintains this operating point at point A, from where we will get the maximum power. And the next advantage is to maximize the low PV conversion efficiency. Generally, the efficiency of a solar panels which we will use in our day-to-day life are very less, in between 9 to 17%. So in order to improve this efficiency, we'll always use this MPPT tracker. So by using this MPPT tracker, the power output is maximized. So what is efficiency? Output by input. So for the same input, if the power output is increased, we call it a increase in efficiency. For the same power input, if the output is maximized, then the efficiency will also be increased. So to improve the low conversion efficiency of a solar panel, we use this MPPT tracking. And the third one is irradiance and temperature effects. So we already know that whenever the radiation changes, short circuit current and open circuit voltage changes, and accordingly the IV characteristics of a PV panel will change, and thereby the performance of a PV panel will change. The same holds good for temperature rise also. So whenever there is a change in the irradiance and temperature, this change is accounted by means of a MPPT controller in order to deliver the maximum power to the load. So for example, whenever the irradiation decreased, then automatically the performance of a PV panel will be decreased. But if the performance of a PV panel is decreased, then we are not able to give the maximum power to the load. So in order to deliver the maximum power to the load, we have to You use a power interface, and this power interface have to adjust the value of the input impedance RT in such a way that the panel is always giving maximum power to the load, right? So these are the different benefits or the need of MPPT. Now let's see here, what are the IV characteristics at different irradiation levels. We know that the short circuit current in a solar panel is equal to the photon current, and this photon current is directly proportional to the solar radiation intensity. So now as the solar radiation intensity increases, the short circuit current IP also increases. So whenever the photon current increases, then automatically the short circuit current also increases, right? And then we know what is the open circuit voltage. The open circuit voltage will be given by NVT into ln of IP plus I naught by I naught, and this VOC is directly proportional to logarithm of photon current, and the photon current is proportional to the solar radiation intensity, and thereby the VOC is also proportional to the logarithm of solar radiation intensity. Therefore, the conclusion is that the short circuit current is linearly proportional to solar radiation intensity, whereas the open circuit voltage is proportional to the logarithm of solar radiation intensity. Now what happens when the irradiation starts increasing? Say for example, when the irradiation is 250 watt per meter square, we will get the bottommost curve of this family of curves. That is for a radiation of 250 watt per meter square. Now when the radiation is increased to 500 watt per meter square, now you can see the yellow curve got shifted to the red curve. That is, the short circuit current is linearly increased on the y-axis with increase in solar radiation intensity. On the x-axis you can clearly see here the open circuit voltage also increased, but the open circuit voltage is just slightly increased. When compared to the increase in the short circuit current with radiation, the increase in the open circuit voltage with radiation is very less, because it's a logarithmic variation, that is a linear variation. Right. Now, as the radiation further increased to 750 watt per meter square, that red curve is shifted to green curve. Now you can see again the short circuit current increases linearly with the solar radiation intensity, whereas the open circuit voltage on the x-axis you can see it's just a slight change with increase in solar radiation intensity. And again, the radiation is further increased to 1000 watt per meter square. If the radiation further increases to 1000 watt per meter square, the curve shifts upwards. Again, it is increased in proportional to the solar radiation intensity, and you can see on the x-axis that the open circuit voltage increases slightly with increase in solar radiation intensity. So what we understand from this, with increase in solar radiation intensity, the current increases linearly, whereas the voltage increases just slightly, and thereby, so this we can see it here. So with the increase in solar radiation intensity, the maximum power also increases. As you can see that the dashed line from 250 watt per meter square characteristic to 1000 watt per meter square characteristics, you can clearly observe that the line is increasing. You can see the intersection of that line with the IV curve point. That point is continuously increasing. That is, the maximum power delivered by the PV panel is increased with increase in solar radiation intensity. Now let's see the variation of the IV characteristics of a PV panel with change in temperature. We already know that the short circuit current or the current of a PV module has a positive temperature coefficient. That is, as temperature increases, the short circuit current increases very slightly. On the other hand, as the temperature increases, the open circuit voltage decreases owing to its negative temperature coefficient. The same is valid for power as well. That is, as the temperature increases, the maximum power also decreases owing to its negative temperature coefficient. So the current has a positive temperature coefficient, whereas the voltage and power have the negative temperature coefficient in a solar PV module. That is, as temperature increases, the short circuit current or the current increases slightly, whereas as the temperature increases, both power and voltage decrease in a PV module. Now let's see three different levels of temperatures. The first one is 0 degrees centigrade, the second one is 25 degrees centigrade, the third one is 50 degrees centigrade. Now let us see what happens. Now let's take the 0 degrees curve, that is the green curve. So at 0 degrees we have the IV characteristics as shown in the green curve. So when the temperature is increased to 25 degrees centigrade, now tell me what happens. Whenever the temperature increases, the current slightly increases. Whenever the temperature increases, the voltage decreases. Now you can clearly see it as the temperature increased from 0 degrees centigrade to 25 degrees centigrade. The green curve is shifted to which curve? Red curve. You can see on the x-axis side, the voltage is reduced, which we have previously discussed. As the temperature increases, the voltage is reduced. Now you can see on the y-axis that the green curve is shifted upwards to red curve. That is, as the temperature increases, the short circuit current slightly increases. Now, again the temperature is increased to 50 degrees centigrade from 25 degrees centigrade. Now you can see on the x-axis, now the red color curve shifts. Now you can see here the voltage is further reduced with increase in temperature. Now you can see on the y-axis, as the temperature increases from 25 degrees centigrade to 50 degrees centigrade, the red color curve will move upwards slightly because there is a slight increase in the short circuit current with increase in the temperature. So finally, as the temperature increases, the short circuit current slightly increases, but the open circuit voltage decreases. And similarly, you can see the variation in that curve. Whenever there is an increase in temperature, the power output at the maximum power point of a PV module is reduced. Now let's enter into the actual discussion, that is the heart of this unit, that is MPPT algorithms. That is the maximum power point tracking algorithms. An MPPT system is basically designed electronic device and it consists of two important parts or components. The first one is a DC to DC power conditioner topology. Along with it, there is a second part called MPPT control algorithm. And this MPPT algorithm operates the PV system in such a way that it can deliver the maximum power that it is capable of. We have two impedances here. One is the load impedance R0 and the input impedance of the power interface or DC to DC converter, that is RT, terminal resistance. And these two resistances rarely match with each other. When they match with each other, at that point we will get the maximum power output from the PV modules. But they will match very rarely. Very seldom they will match with each other. So the tracking process seeks to match these two parameters R0 and RT by means of appropriate algorithms, by means of appropriate adjustment of the control input, that is a duty cycle, to the power interface, which is a DC to DC converter, with different algorithms called MPPT algorithms. And this MPPT algorithm will be utilized to change the value of the control input which is feeding the power interface, that is a DC to DC converter, in order to keep the value of the RT constant always, so that maximum power is always drawn from the PV module. So the essence of this MPPT control techniques or the algorithms is simple. It's just to keep the value of RT constant by adjusting the value of duty cycle such that RT is always kept constant. So the essence of the MPPT algorithms is very quite simple. It is to adjust the value of the control input or the duty cycle in such a way that the input impedance of the power interface or the DC to DC converter block is always constant in order to deliver the maximum power to the load. That is, these MPPT algorithms are used to generate the duty cycle which keeps the RT constant through power interface block. There are different MPPT algorithms. So in this particular lecture we are going to see 6 different types of MPPT algorithms. The first one is the fixed voltage method or fixed voltage algorithm. The second one is the fractional open circuit voltage method or algorithm. The third one is the pilot cell method or algorithm. The fourth one is the fractional short circuit current method or algorithm. And the fifth one is the heat landing method or perturb and observe. In short, TNO method or algorithm. And the last one is the incremental conductance algorithm. All these are the 6 different algorithms which we are going to see in this particular class. Now let's see the first algorithm, that is a fixed voltage method or algorithm. So generally the MPPT system consists of 3 different components. What are those? PV panel, load, and in between the PV panel and load we will connect the power interface, that is DC to DC converter with a control input. The control input is nothing but a duty cycle in this case. So in this method, the error arising from the comparison of array operating voltage with a constant reference voltage is used to continuously adjust the value of duty cycle, that is the control input, in such a way that the array operates at a predetermined operating point near to the maximum power point MPP. In order to maintain the input impedance of the power interface of the DC to DC converter block RT constant, such that peak power is always drawn from the PV module. This concept is very simple. This method is very simple method. Here, whenever there is a change in the value of R0 or the load resistance, what happens? There is a change in the voltage which is produced by the PV cell. But we will get the maximum power only at one particular voltage called Vm, at which we will get the peak power. That is at operating point A only we will get the maximum power, and the voltage and current corresponding to the operating point A are Vm and Im. And if I multiply Vm and Im, I will get the peak power Tm. And this is the power which is delivered to the load, which is always maximum. So we need to always operate the PV panel always at a voltage Vm in order to deliver maximum power to the load. That adjustment will perform by means of a power interface and a control input. Now what happens? Now you can see it there clearly. Now at every instant we will take the output from the PV array, which is called VPV. Now that VPV is compared with the reference voltage. What is the reference voltage? This reference voltage is the voltage at which the solar panel will deliver the maximum power to the load, and that will be obtained from the IV characteristics of a PV module. That Vm is taken as a reference voltage. So always at each and every instant we'll compare the array operating voltage VPV with the reference voltage Vm, and when both are equal, it is nothing but it is a maximum power point operation. If for example, if the array operating voltage is more than the reference voltage, now what happens? If the array operating voltage is more than the reference voltage, then the operating point A shifts to the operating point B to the right of the IV curve. So whenever the operating point shifts from A to the B, that is the right of the operating IV curve, then what happens? Then you will get a power of PMP which is obviously less than the PMA. That is, we will never get the maximum power from the PV panel. And that is the reason why we should always operate the panel at operating point A. So in order to operate the operating point, in order to operate the PV panel at the operating point A again, what you need to do? You need to change the value to Vm. You need to change the value of the array operating voltage VPV to again Vm, and that will be performed with the help of a DC to DC converter and a control input. That is, we need to decrease the array operating voltage to V reference. That is the Vm, that is the voltage at the maximum power point. So in order to do that, what we have to do? we need to decrease the array operating voltage, and that will be performed by means of a DC to DC converter. Say for example, the VM is 19 volts, and this 19 volt is nothing but the V reference. Now we have a array output voltage at that point is 20 volts. If the array operating voltage is 20 volts, we'll never get the maximum power from the PV array, because it is not the VM, it is not the V reference value where you will get the maximum power, and therefore you need to reduce the array operating voltage to 19 volts from 20 volts, and this can be performed by means of a DC to DC converter. It is a buck converter. This buck converter will reduce the output voltage. Now there is an error. What is that error? That error is nothing but the reference voltage minus array operating voltage. Now based on that error, the controller will adjust the duty cycle in such a way that the array operating voltage which is delivered to the load is always 19 volts by keeping the value of the input impedance of the DC to DC converter block, that is RT, constant. Whenever you change this array operating voltage from 20 volts to 19 volts, it is nothing but you have automatically adjusted the input impedance of a DC to DC power interface block. It is how the operation will takes place. On the other hand, if the array operating voltage decreases to 18 volts or 17 volts, say for example, now at 17 volts, what happens? The operating point will move to the left of the MPP and reaches a point C. At C, we have already seen that the power is always less than the PMA, and thereby we have to now increase the array operating voltage to 19 volts from 17 volts. So in order to do that, we will again use this error, that is the difference between the reference voltage and the array operating voltage, and this error is processed in a controller in order to deliver the duty cycle, that is the appropriate duty cycle to the DC to DC converter, so that the DC to DC converter will increases its voltage from 17 volts to the 19 volts, and by doing so the input impedance of the DC to DC converter block, that is RT, is kept constant. It is how the fixed voltage algorithm will work. So in this fixed voltage algorithm, the predefined reference voltage may be obtained by monitoring the PV module characteristics and choosing a single value, that is a VM, at which we will get the maximum power PM, right, which we have already discussed. So this method is based on adjusting the operating voltage on seasonal basis. So what is meant by the seasonal basis? You can see in the figure over here that there are two IV curves and two PV curves. One IV curve is particularly drawn in winter season, and one IV curve is particularly drawn at summer season. Now, generally, what should be our perspective, our myth? The power output from the PV module will be higher during the summer, and the power output from the PV panel will be lesser during the winter. But practically, we got the ulta. We got exactly opposite of what we think. Here in the curves, we can clearly see that the maximum operating point at winter is always greater than the maximum operating point at summer. Why? Why in the sense, during the winter, because of the reduced temperature, the output of a PV panel will be high because of the cooling effect. Natural cooling effect in winter will improve the efficiency of a PV panel, and thereby you will get the maximum power output from the PV panel than in summer, because in summer, due to hot weather, the panel will get heated up very quickly, and this leads to the decrease in the power output. As we have clearly seen that as temperature increases, the power output will be decreased. So in summer, the temperature will be very high, and thereby the power output is less, and thereby the efficiency also will be less. But whereas in winter, owing to its cool temperature, the power output as well as the efficiency of the PV panel will be somewhat higher than in the summer. But the amount of time the power is generated in summer is more, because the length of the day is very higher when compared to the length of the day in winter, which is a very short. Because of the short winter days, even though the efficiency and the power output will be very high for a PV module, the quantity or the magnitude of the power that is generated in a day will be less because of its short winter, because the day is shorter in the winter. So from this conclusion, it is evident that during summer season we need to keep one value of V reference for this method, and during the winter season we need to keep some other value of Vm as a reference for this method. So two references for summer as well as for winter is required in order to operate the fixed voltage algorithm. Now let's see the flowchart of fixed voltage MPPT algorithm. Now what is that? Initially you need to start the MPPT algorithm. Then the first step is to measure the array operating voltage VPV. Then you compare whether this array operating voltage is equal to the reference voltage or not. That reference voltage is Vm or VMPP, that is the voltage at maximum power point. Now compare this array operating voltage VPV with the reference voltage VMPP. If both are equal, it is nothing but the panel is operating at MPP. Yes, then the program will be terminated. On the other hand, if they are not equal, if the array operating voltage and the reference voltage are not equal, then we need to compare this array operating voltage with the reference voltage. Now if the array operating voltage is more than the reference voltage, say if it is yes, that is the operating voltage of a PV array is more than the reference voltage. Now what we have to do in order to keep the value of RT constant, we need to decrease the value of array operating voltage by means of a proper duty cycle, and this duty cycle will feed the digital DC converter and it will decreases the array operating voltage. And similarly, if the array operating voltage is less than the V reference, then what we have to do, we need to again adjust the value of RT constant by making a proper or by generating a proper duty cycle, and the duty cycle have to increase the value of the array operating voltage to the reference voltage in order to deliver the maximum power to the load. It is how the fixed voltage algorithm will work. So what are the drawbacks of this method? The main drawbacks of this fixed voltage MPPT method is the method is not accurate, and it cannot automatically track the variations in the MPP, that is the maximum power point of the PV module, because the changes in the environmental conditions, that is the irradiations and temperature, are not taken into consideration in this particular method. So whenever the radiation changes or whenever the temperature changes, the IV curve changes, and this variation is not considered. We have considered only the summer power point and the winter power point, but even in summer and winter, because of the change in temperatures and the irradiations, there is a change in the value of Vm, and that variation we didn't consider here, and this is the major drawback of this fixed voltage MPPT algorithm.